Hello, can I please introduce the filmmaker for A Slim Piece? Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks.
So you bring together Israeli-Palestinian women ostensibly to talk about their waistlines, but you had another idea behind
the secret agenda, to see if maybe through weight loss they could also empathize with one another.
I'm sure you're going to enjoy the results.
Hopefully.
They will.
Phew.
Okay, see you afterwards for the Q&A. It was the breakdown of the Middle East peace process in 2000 that gave American director Yael Luttwak the idea for A Slim Piece. But bringing together women who fear each other wasn't easy.
I live in Bedouin, and Bedouin is extreme when it comes to Arabs, you know? Like, no Arabs are not allowed to come into Bedouin.
But Yael eventually found a diverse group willing to lose weight together.
Jews and Arab are gaining weight all the time.
Iksan, a Palestinian TV producer. Rivka, a religious American-born settler.
If there was like hamburgers and french fries, it would all be gone.
A Bedouin who now lives in Israel, Amal.
I used to be a shepherd.
Wow.
And Aviva, a secular Israeli.
To give up a part of my land is also very painful, but I'm ready and willing to give it in order to live in peace.
I'm not gonna lie when I say the word Palestinian makes me uncomfortable. I don't even like the word.
Initially, the women are wary of each other.
They destroy our ministries, our soldiers, everything.
But when the 2006 Palestinian elections come up,
Who are you going to vote for?
Fatah, of course.
and Hamas wins a landslide, the women are willing for open debate.
Most of the people, they are desperate. I know. Believe me, they choose Hamas because they are desperate.
And still show up for meetings. The film shows how the Middle East doesn't always split down expected lines.
For me, all the religious people, you look the same. Forgive me. If you are Jewish or Muslims, you have something to cover your head.
And results in at least one friendship between Iksan and Darcy.
I was 92 kilograms.
But you can tell.
But the gulf between them proves too big for even them to bridge.
But we pay for war. I know what's the meaning of peace.
People had to suffer, lose their lives.
Yes.
Children would grow without parents.
I feel what we did was right, and what Arafat did is right.
The bottom line, after 50 years, you're in the gutter.
This argument was so bad, Yael stopped filming. But her documentary still hints at a way forward for the Middle East.
You know, you can sit with people. You should not agree on what they say, or they should agree on what I say. At least you can sit and talk.
You wanted to bring together women who would never usually come together.
Precisely.
So you're in Israel and you decide that you want to lose weight.
Yes, and I at the time was working with Israelis and Palestinians, and I was doing a television talk show, and I remember being in these Weight Watcher classes in Tel Aviv and seeing how women felt like $1 million when they lost like a kilo, and then how they'd feel really badly about themselves if they like gained 200 grams or something. So when the peace process broke down, I thought if we could maybe take that level of emotional experience and then an empathy and bring that to the Middle East peace process, then maybe we could achieve something.
Until Atarot, I walk.
Wow.
And then I look,
lot.
I shoot myself. I want to shoot myself in the face after that.
Why? How many did... Oh, because it did reset.
It's reset.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Because it's a Palestinian woman is wearing it. If it's an Israeli woman, it will work, ya habibti.
This is a comedy.
Of sorts.
Which is almost, you know, obviously your irreverence there could get you in trouble with some people.
Yeah. You know, at one point we're like, oh my God, are people gonna like run us out of town like for wanting to do a comedy about the Middle East? But I thought that if we struck it with respect, then we could maybe show something that hadn't been seen before.
Well, much of that comedy comes from one of your characters, the Palestinian lady.
She's hilarious.
She is hilarious.
She's so funny.
How did it go in the stepometer for you, Rivka?
It's not working. I don't want to. It's silly.
So it's not working in the Palestinian territories and in the Israeli territories. Even in the settlements, it's not working.
She was a real find for you. Many people might say that she doesn't represent the average Palestinian.
Come on, let's go.
I think that whilst she might not be the representation of what people's perception of a typical Palestinian woman looks like, sounds like, acts like, she is in fact a Palestinian woman.
I'm the first woman who did comedy drama in the television.
In Palestine.
And Palestine.
It was really nice to see women coming together on that level. And it was informative as well, because I didn't know about the American settlers there.
Oh yeah, there are some.
Viva says that she has more in common with Palestinians. This is the Israeli lady.
Yeah.
She has more in common with Palestinians than she does with the American settlers.
And the Palestinian, I have a lot of things in common.
Like what?
I don't know, they were fun and...
Were the settlers not fun?
No.
Really, Aviva does represent quite a big group of Israelis who are secular, who naturally have more in common with Palestinians because they're all from the Middle East. Similar geography, similar foods, sense of humor. My theory, anyway, is that, you know, that because Israelis and Palestinians have so much in common, and we are also historically cousins, that there's like this sibling rivalry, there's all this tension and anger and aggression. If only we were actually more different, I think we'd have less problems.
I really feel that this is very good, you know, very healthy in all aspects.
We are not aliens, yani. We are not coming from the sky, from the moon. We are people, and even with the Rivka, we find something common.
Yes, I want to go back to the casting.
Okay.
Not so much the casting of the film, but the casting of the peace process.
Ah, okay.
Leave it to women.
Could we just like take that one comment and just blast it all over the world?
Come on, we are women. We have many things in common.
You're speaking just well for me.
For all of that being said about women, there was still this inherent, palpable mistrust.
I think it's very hard to trust when someone's hurt you.
I'm not gonna lie when I say that when Hamas won by a landslide, that I don't feel uncomfortable in this room. Being with my real enemies, my quote enemies, I don't, you know.
You know, in this case of the Israelis and Palestinians, they, you know, physically hurt each other. It's very hard to then trust that person and to say, you're not going to do it to me again. You're not going to hit me again. You're not going to kill my child. You're not going to blow me up. I'm not going to shoot at you. That's very hard, of course. But really, that's the only way.
Until this meeting, I thought that everybody who had a hijab, that's what it's called, right? Wanted to kill me. How's that? Maybe not that to that extreme. But now I feel like I enjoy being your partner, Amal. We're having such a good time.
Can you even begin to imagine making a similar film with the equivalent men?
A Slim Piece for Men, Slim Piece 2, the sequel. Some of the husbands of some of the women did say, well, listen, you know, I have a big tummy, you know, what about me? Take me for the film.
So what, did they all lose weight?
A lot of them did, actually, over like 90 kilos. One of the Israeli women. Yeah, over 90 kilos, combined. One person became 0. Now that would have been an ending.
That would have been a different type of film.
That would have been an ending.
Could we please thank the filmmaker here? Yael Luttwak, thank you very much for joining us from A Slim Piece.
Thank you, Amanda.
From women trying to improve their physical appearance to a woman who gets paid not to be noticed. As one of the world's top female stunt doubles, you've probably watched Zoe Bell without even knowing.
There's something very unusual about this car chase in Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof. It doesn't contain a single special effect. That's because after years of doubling for others, Stuntwoman Zoe Bell is making her acting debut.
For me, the chase sequence, I knew I was comfortable with that. And after watching the raw footage of it, I knew it was going to be amazing. I was so excited about it. The acting, after watching it and not feeling sick, I was like, okay, well, apparently I'm doing all right. But to have people comment on that has been like a relief, but also like just a really nice feeling to know that I was about to swear.
It makes the sequence like 3 times more exciting, knowing that there's no cinematic trickery going on. You know, that's Zoe on the hood. That is Zoe doing it. And, you know, and that's not a CGI car, that's a real car, and they are actually going 80 miles an hour, and that's her, and she can die.
Get ready to fly.
Bell's career began at just 18 when she landed the job doubling for Lucy Lawless in Xena, Warrior Princess.
Yeah, Xena is half Zoe. Hate to tell you people that, but...
She spent 6 years on the series. Go! Ooh, mastering stunts no one else could.
When things go wrong, no one wants to be seen to be holding up the production, and Zoe's the epitome of that. You know that if you set a rig up and Zoe can't do it, then you know you've something wrong with your rig.
But when Xena died, so did Zoe's job. So Bell ended her career in New Zealand and headed for Hollywood.
And action. Beautiful. Action.
When she auditioned to be Uma Thurman's double in Kill Bill, she failed to do the stunt, as had everybody else. But Zoe wouldn't give up, and eventually impressed the director.
Hi, I'm Quentin.
I'm Zoe.
Hi, nice to meet you, Zoe.
How you doing?
And got the job. After doing Uma's stunts in both Kill Bill films, action-addicted director Tarantino called Zoe his muse. But it took a documentary on Bell to make Tarantino see her as more than an action figure.
It's my acting double.
I watched that movie with about 3 different audiences, you know, theater experience. And I'm sitting there watching the audience fall in love with Zoe the same way that everybody who knows Zoe falls in love with Zoe.
1, 2, 3! So he cast her in Death Proof as the character Zoe Bell, New Zealand stuntwoman.
I flicked to page 88. I remember it very vividly, and it introduces me at the airport, and then I was flicking through and it just had my name on every page after that, and I was in a state of mild shock, you know. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what if I'm terrible at it? I mean, it's possible.
She wasn't. One reviewer called her the feather in Tarantino's cap. She even impressed the real actors.
And then all of a sudden she steps out, you know, she slides out of the car and slides down the hood, and she's like, finally, all this talky stuff, now I get to really work. And you're like, oh my God, she's really doing this. Like, the shock and awe on my face and experience of working with her is complete. She's truly my hero.
The sequence took 6 weeks to shoot.
Taking the car.
And was instantly hailed as one of cinema's great car chases. Bell's now hoping she won't be a crash dummy forever.
When I'm 40 and have kids, I'm not going to be falling on my bum for a living.
But you can see her cunning stunts for a while yet.
Well, that's it for this fabulous picture show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I think they came up with some brilliant ideas. A slim piece for men.
Yes. It's not over.
If you thought the ladies were funny, wait for the men, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Hope to see you next time.
We are not aliens, yani. We are not coming from the sky, from the moon. We are people.
So how would you rate the film out of 10 and why?
It's hard to give it a number.
I think I'd rate the film 8 out of 10.
I really liked the beginning, because I really liked the way it kind of struck us with sound and shaky cameras.
It wasn't the sort of traditional political documentary.
It's about empathy. It's about us all being human beings.
On the regular news channels, we get a lot of smoke and bullets. We see a lot of men running around, and I think as a man to watch this documentary is fantastic.
You can shed pounds and you can shed prejudices.